Click, click, boom. What's going on, faithfuls? The Nothing But Niners crew is back, and we are here to bring you guys a new type of episode. Today, we're going to highlight the 49ers, the actual team's fan engagement. But before we get to any and all of that, we have to go through a couple of formalities. So, guys, let's go ahead and start here, all right? If this is your first time here on the YouTube channel, we thank you guys for checking us out. If you enjoy the show, make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe. It's going to be the best way to keep in touch with us as we bring you guys 49ers content, all right? Also, make sure you turn on your notifications. We bring you guys impromptu shows. Not everything will have a start time, and we'll give you a heads up. So when we do breaking news videos and things like that, halftime shows, it's really hard to time them. You guys are going to have to make sure your notifications are turned on so you know exactly when we're going live. Give us a follow on a couple of our social media platforms. We have Twitter and Snapchat. That is Nothing But 9 ERS. That is the number 9, Nothing But 9 ERS. We have Facebook, Instagram, as well as Twitch. That is Nothing But Niners, spelled all the way out. That is just like the website, which is www.nothingbutniners.com. That's going to do it for us. I am 49ers Mike _NFL, and my guy over here. What's up, Nick? How's it going, man?
What up, Mikey? Chilling, man. Look, man, tonight's episode is going to be a fun one, man. I've been trying to get him on for a while. Finally got this through, man. One of my great friends, I call a friend, good guy for the team. Look, man, this is going to be interesting. But look, you guys hear us talk all the time, man. So let's bring in let's add him over here.
All right, here we go.
Oh, Nick, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? What's up? Nothing But Niners fam. Mike, Nick, I'm excited to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm sort of just giddy to get started and chat with y'all.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have you on. You know, like I said in the beginning, man, it's an honor. I've known you now for 2 or 3 years, and we always get together and shoot the crap, I guess you could say, when we're together and talk and all that other good stuff. But man, it's a pleasure to finally get you on here, man, and I'm thankful and appreciate you, man. So thanks again.
Yeah, of course. No, it's always fun it's never know where I'm going to run into y'all too. Sometimes I'm walking around, you guys are getting a tour around the facility and the practice fields. Other times we're at home games, and other times we're in Tampa or in New Orleans. It's just like, hey, you guys are going to be in town. So I've always loved hanging out with you guys and being able to talk a little bit of 49ers, and excited to talk about sort of what I get to do in my world of the business.
Yeah. I'm going to pull up some messages. You're getting a lot of love over here, man. These people are excited to see you. And I want to give you one that started actually even before the show. Boom, there she is too.
Miss Debbie, love her.
Debbie was there. She was the first one. I should have put that one up there first. And then my guy, man, Hodge.
Yeah, me and Hodge go way back.
Hodge is one of the greatest, man. Hodge is one of the greatest, that's for sure. One of the greatest faithful. So, look, Nick, man, like we said, man, I appreciate it. But, look, let's dig into you. Let's see who you are and what you do for the team. So, give the faithful a little bit of background on yourself, how you became a Niners fan. Have you always been a Niners fan? Where you grew up, type of things like that. And give us a little bit of a backstory on who Nick Clarke is.
Hold on. Are you actually a Niners fan? I mean, Joe Fan came on with us and he was like, yeah, I like the Niners, but the Seahawks have been my team because, I grew up in it. Let's find out. Are you actually a 49ers fan?
Yeah, I wish I had access to my photo logs, but yeah, I've been born and raised Niners fan. I actually, with quarantine, I spent a lot of time at home with my parents. We went through old pictures, found some old pictures of me in I must have been 2 or 3 in pajamas in the background. You see Steve Young on TV, and I had the red cap all the way down to Niners sneakers watching the Super Bowl in '94, and I was born in '93, so I obviously didn't know what I was doing, but I knew that I was dressed to root on the Niners, and I've been fortunate enough that I've been faithful to the Bay. Was born in California and then grew up sort of South Bay, San Jose, Santa Cruz, and then went to school in the city. Definitely looked into what it would take, unrealistically as an 18-year-old. And so, what can I do to have season tickets? It was going into the 2011 season, so a couple years of not going to the playoffs. Tickets were a little bit cheaper. Could I afford it? No, you're 18 years old. You can't afford season tickets, and also you're just going to buy a ticket for yourself. So no, if you sliced me open, obviously the blood would be red, but there'd be a little twinge of gold in there too, because I definitely bleed red and gold. Love this team. Have for my whole life, and I'm just extremely fortunate to have the opportunity to find a position to work for the team, obviously, and then be able to have an impact with the fans is definitely one of my favorite things that I get to do.
I did listen to your podcast Inside the Oval, and obviously, you followed up Al Guido, which, like you said on there, was a big shoe to fill, like following him up, right? But the question is how did you told a little bit on that Inside the Oval podcast about your journey to get where you are, and so if you could tell us a little bit about that, how you got to where you exactly are right now, just a little bit of a backstory. You don't have to go all the way back, but just a little bit of a backstory on how you interned so much and things like that to get to the actual position you're in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, especially anyone it's really good advice for any career path, especially in the sports industry. Internships are such a huge part of it. And for myself, it was definitely, I went to graduate from high school in 11, got into SF State. And when I got there, I just knew that I actually went in as a cinema major, thought I was going to get into the movie and entertainment side of the world. But eventually just kept finding myself drawing to, baseball games with the Giants, to obviously Niners games all the time, trying to get to Sharks games. Warriors were starting to take off during my time in college. So was just drawn more towards that. And I actually ended up changing my major towards more of a broadcasting, electronic communication arts sort of major that they offer at SF State, and did an internship my freshman year out in Disney World with the Disney College program, did an internship in Anaheim at Disneyland, where I actually got to be a Jungle Cruise skipper for a while, definitely honed in my guest service skills. And then also I know my way a little bit around a microphone these days. And then I interned with what's now NBC Sports Bay Area, but was then Comcast Sportsnet, I think 4 different semesters, and really fell in love with the face-to-face interactions with fans, whether we were spending Tuesdays at Giants games, Sundays at Niners games, Fridays either with the A's or with the Warriors, Thursdays at the Sharks. So kind of got a feel for all the different organizations and what the fan base's pulse were all over the place. And then we got to give people all the fun gnomes and the authentic fan cheer cards and different things like that. So really enjoyed what that sort of experience was. And luckily I graduated from college going into year 2 of Levi Stadium, and such a huge jump for an organization to go from sort of being a mom and pop organization to now running this globally known infrastructure with one of the best stadiums in the world. And what are the new things that we want to do for the fans, for events that are non-football related, and sort of found my niche getting my first internship with the Niners back in 2015. And then sort of just kept grinding for 2 seasons, and eventually came on full-time as the first fan engagement coordinator. And then before going into last off season, so 2019 season, was lucky enough to become a manager of fan engagement. And now we're getting as creative as we can given the times. And obviously we've got a pretty special team coming off of last year, and hopefully we can keep it going this year and just find unique ways that the team can always stay connected, whether it be in person like we normally do, or this year in virtual ways.
So you talked about interning and working your way up through the rankings and things like that. And I understand that you have you've gone all over the place. How, I don't know. For me, I'm a Niners fan, right? I've always been a Niners fan, but I'm on the East Coast, right? So it wouldn't be a reality, at least for me, to think that one day I can end up working for the 49ers. You grew up loving this team, and then boom, you're in there, right? Now you're the fan engagement manager. Does it seem surreal, or does it seem like you can't fight fate? I knew this was happening. Here I am. I earned it. How does it feel like waking up and knowing that you're going in and you're doing something for a team that you were passionate about?
Yeah, it's extremely special, and the fact that I grew up here certainly helps. It made it so that those first 2 seasons that I did intern, I lived at home with my parents, and could I have done that if I didn't live here, and would it be with this team? So obviously extremely thankful to them for allowing me to live at home for a couple of years so I can make that commute and really try to make a career out of this. But I don't know, I really know how to explain it, but it's extremely special. I would certainly not tell folks that if you live out of state that it's impossible. We have so many folks that come from all over the country that work for the 49ers. So if that's your dream, work hard at it. It can definitely become a reality. But yeah, it's special. And there's so many opportunities where we get to be either on the practice field doing youth football stuff or on game days. You still get those jitters every time you walk through the tunnel. And I've been lucky enough that this is my 6th season, so I've been able to do that quite a few times at this point. But it's still so special and unique. And it may not be the same field that Joe and Jerry and Ronnie played on, but it's the legacy of those great teams. And this is the next step for an amazing organization. And obviously, we saw some special moments last year where Levi Stadium, to quote E40, Levi Stadium starting to feel like Candlestick Park. So you really do feel that, and it's special to know that I do have that history with the team, and I can, whenever people have questions or try to brainstorm ideas, like, oh, well, don't you know this person used to do that? And just from being a fan, and I keep a pulse on what alumni are doing. And, if we're going to have, let's say, a community event related around mental health, like, oh, did you know Ronnie Lott's still, or he does a podcast about mental health? Like, maybe we should look into that sort of a possibility. Or just, there's a ton of knowledge in here from just growing up a fan, and I'm able to pull from that and answer questions. And I try to be as creative as possible when it comes to fan events. And then it's looking to podcasts like Nothing But Niners and keeping the pulse on what everyone's doing on Twitter, and sort of taking that and really seeing what do y'all want, and let's see if we can do it.
Yeah, you talked about obviously it not being Candlestick Park, right, and at the stadium with Levi, and it's more of like a business type, stadium now, I guess you could say, compared to Candlestick, right? Like, I can remember going in Candlestick, like, wait, is this going to fall on me? Like, you know what I mean? But it was just the feel that was at Candlestick was so real, right? And so what is one of your favorite things about Levi Stadium now? Like, if you had to pick one thing about Levi Stadium, what would that be? You get to walk and experience it every day. Compared to some of these other stadiums that you've been in as well, what is one thing that you think attracts people at Levi Stadium in your eyes, and something that's your favorite?
I mean, the first thing is we get to be in California in beautiful weather around the year. I know sometimes the air isn't what we want it to be, and sometimes it's maybe even cooler or warmer than we're used to for us weak weathered Californians. But number one thing is we get to be outside for every single game and hang out in the California sun. It has to be one of the best things about it, for sure. I know a lot of people talk about the domes, and obviously you see what they're just opened in LA and Las Vegas, and that's cool and all, but who doesn't want to hang out in the California sun when you get that opportunity? And then my favorite thing is probably one of the newest iterations that we actually added last season, and I know both of you are relatively familiar with it, is we added this section of the stadium called the Gold Mine, where we get to invite roughly 35 to 40 fans to it sort of came after we hosted Alabama and Clemson for the national championship game, and seeing, like, dang, this stadium really can rumble and shake when you kind of have that college football atmosphere. And we know that there's amazing faithful around the world that would be a part of this. And, we're such an international destination that on any given game day, we could have a percentage of folks that are experiencing their first NFL game. We could have people just, whether they're new to the Bay Area or just trying to see what this crazy American football thing is about. And what if we brought in the most avid 49ers fans that know all the traditions, that are willing to yell for 4 quarters plus overtime on defense, and help remind people to be quiet, and just really inspire 70,000 other people to make an impact on the game and really have that home field advantage that we've always been looking for. So we call it the Gold Mine, and I get the pleasure of working with different fan groups from around this past year was around the country, but certainly would look to fan groups from around the world. And if they're coming out and they're ready to rock and roll with us, definitely get them up there and be loud and wear your red, and let's just have some fun. And really, and at the end of the day, it is to inspire that. And I think one of the big moments that hit me was, I think we all remember when Nick Bosa had the wind knocked out of him against the Minnesota Vikings, and you hear the fans yelling, Bosa, Bosa, and he gets up. So it was just, obviously that was a great environment. We had so many great fans, all 70,000 fans that are in attendance, but you like to think that some of that comes from the Gold Mine, and it really does inspire folks to make that impact. And you can see how it inspires the players when they want to get up from a minor injury and then get back out there and make an impact to, eventually get us to a Super Bowl.
Now, you mentioned the
the gold mine in particular, and working with different groups from all across the country. You guys want to expand and work with people all over the world. This is a part of the job that's always like intrigued me, right? So I imagine that, you know, what's going on right now makes it a little hard, and, you know, it's probably frustrating at times. But how do you guys decide who is going to be the ones to go out there and work with you guys and sit in those sections? Like, do you have like is it like you make a big list and like you just watch them throughout the year like Santa Claus and you're checking them off? Or is it like a dartboard? You just put them up there and let's see who we're going to try to work with? I mean, how it's got to be a tough decision. You guys probably face some pressure. How does that all work out?
I think this would have been the year where it became very, very interesting. And definitely, obviously, I have a list that, you know, Nick knows this. All of us St. Nick's have our list. We checking who's naughty and nice. No, but I think for last year, because it was year one, I wouldn't say it was a dartboard, and it certainly wasn't frustrating. What we did is we sort of knew some fan groups that classic or traditionally had traveled to games. So sort of reached out to them and said, all right, what game were you already planning to be here? And let's see if we can't make this work with your group. So that way you can join the gold mine because you're already part of a travel crew. So we did that for the home opener. There was, I think, 3 or 4 different groups from LA and Riverside and sort of that Southern California area. And they were all caravanning up here anyway. So we said, join the gold mine. This is the inaugural one, so we don't really know exactly how it's going to work, but we know y'all are great fans. We've seen you take over the Coliseum over the past few years in LA, and then also StubHub Center. So let's make it work for this one. And then just started beginning with those first few home games with groups we already knew that were planning to travel. And then we have a nomination form on 49ers.com/goldmine. You can actually go in there, sort of write your story, how many folks you'd be traveling with, and then sort of explain why are you a passionate enough fan and why we should believe that you're ready to rock and roll for 4 straight hours. And then sort of through that nomination form, and then given the size parameters that we had, which sort of shifted from 40 to 35 to a little bit more than that. And then for the divisional round and the NFC Championship game, we actually doubled down. So not only do we have the gold mine in the Dignity Health side, but we also had it on the Intel side as well. So then all of a sudden we could double our size and how many fans that we could impact with it. So we should try to do it strategically, and we ended up having lots of fans from all over come. We had one group from Hawaii come for the Atlanta Falcons game, which was just extremely fun because they sort of reached out, I think, after one of the first few games, maybe after the Browns Monday night game, and they were like, hey, if we get enough of us from Hawaii to fly out there, like, would you guys work with us? And sort of did what we could and really confirmed that they were going to make the trip. And they had a crazy 49 hours from Hawaii, landed in Vegas to San Jose in the morning. Then from San Jose came to the game. Then after the game, they went back to San Jose, back to Vegas, and back to Hawaii. So they had a whole extremely long vacation, Niner craziness. And I'm sure they had some fun in Vegas as well. So that's sort of the situation with that. And I think a lot of times we get questions about like how we choose the cities for the invasions. And for me personally, I do my best to try and impact different regions of the country. So obviously it comes down to what does the 49ers away schedule look like? What makes the most sense for different priorities that we have as an organization internally? What are we doing at home? Can we do things while we're on the road? And then ideally, for me, when I plan them out, I try to pick one that's on the West Coast, usually one of the NFC West cities, because those ones we always know people are going to be there, and then it's such an easy either flight or drive for folks. Then we try to hit one in the metropolitan sort of East Coast area. So last year we were there for the Washington game. Would have loved to have been there either this past weekend or this next weekend for New York this week. That was definitely the goal. And then you try to hit either the Midwest or the South. So last year we were able to do New Orleans, and then we had week 1 in Tampa, and just felt special to start the season in Florida and then be able to end the season in Florida was sort of the goal the whole time. So that was how that sort of inspiration came out.
Yeah, I've been to a ton of these invasions, right? And, I always tell you guys, I commend you guys for what you do for the fans and the faithful and putting these things together. And they're always a ton of fun. If you guys haven't gone to an invasion yet, I highly recommend you go to an invasion the day before the game. A ton of Niners fans come out. Obviously, Nick Clarke's there. They give away some autograph material, whether it be a cleat or football or, game tickets also for the game.
I like to bring at least 2 pairs of tickets to every invasion. So if you're just traveling out to New Orleans to have a good time and was just going to watch the game at a bar, show up at the invasion, we'll give you a free raffle ticket. And then, we have so many great giveaways that we have in general. Usually everyone gets like a rally towel or something like that. And then we were lucky enough to partner with Zenny last year. Excited to partner with them in the future to give people glasses and all of these fun things. But yeah, for bare minimum, come for a chance at free tickets to the game the next day.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just just the atmosphere is just great, right? In general, it's all fans, especially last year, right? But I got to tell you, I want to ask you, what was your favorite invasion so far?
Ooh, you're gonna get me in trouble with some of these cities.
All right, you don't have to answer it, but what do you think was the biggest turnout of invasion wise? We'll just go last year.
Yeah, no. I mean, I can speak great about every single place that we've ever been, which is awesome. Arizona has held the record for multiple years as far as biggest invasion, and it's always an anomaly to see 1,000 people packed into this bar right outside of the arena and right across the street from where the stadium is. But last year we were at the House of Blues in New Orleans, and they definitely broke the record. At least 1,500 strong. We were there 2 hours before the event started. I like to get there early to set everything up, and we have all these giveaways and just do one final run through with the management team there. And it's 2 hours beforehand, and the whole French Quarter is just lines turning this way, crossing streets of red and gold. And our photographers had a really fun time, and you'll actually see that in a lot of our campaign material is folks who were wearing their Niner gear with the French Quarter in the background, sort of as portraits. So New Orleans was insane, was so much fun, and then we knew it was going to be big going into it, talking to the fans out there, and they had tailgate plans the next day. And they're like, well, we've already got this many people RSVP'd for our tailgate. They're like, well, if they're going to be there Sunday morning, they're definitely going to be there Saturday. And if that's how many people are willing to pay for a tailgate experience, and we're offering a free event, we can expect it to be even more people than we expect at the RSVP. And just a quick story to go with that. It was super funny because the House of Blues in the New Orleans is such a destination city. We did a walkthrough with them on a Friday, and they're like, okay, yeah, this is what we have planned. We know it's going to be a bigger one, so we'll put you over here, but we're going to keep the patio closed. We're like, well, you should consider opening it because we're going to have lots of people. And they're like, well, we're like, probably like 1,500. They're like, well, the Panthers were here. They sort of said there would be 1,000. There's only 300 people that showed up. And then we get to event day, and they see the line outside. They're just like, yeah, we should open up that patio. And if you guys ever come back, and they were talking playoffs, and we were like, no, we're not coming back to the playoffs. You're coming to us for the playoffs. But if we get to go back, that was another one for this year's regular season, was definitely trying to replicate that experience. And they said they would have given us the whole venue. So sort of a fun, quick story. Love all the invasion sites. Definitely they've all been great. We've been to Seattle several times, been to LA a few times, been to Texas a couple times, Tampa. So excited to try out some new cities. And it's always just a fun time to get to know new faithful who may never get to travel to a home game. And that's sort of the inspiration with those, is that we know that it's tough to get to the Bay Area, and we want to celebrate at the closest venue closest to you. And if we could do it all eight regular season games, we would. Just as of right now, it makes most sense for us to do half the games, and eventually the goal is to make it all 32, and we'll get there at some point.
Yeah, I can swear we were over fire capacity in the House of Blues, because I know, but it wasn't. I'm just saying there were so many people there, right? I had to sneak Matt Miyoko and Jennifer Lee Chan in the back because they couldn't get through the front with the whole crowd, right? So I snuck them around the back, went through these like little things and brought them inside you guys. But I can remember the lady coming up to you like, holy cow, like there's still a ton of people outside. So definitely by far my favorite invasion was obviously New Orleans last year, and I think the faithful did a great job of taking that place over last year. And I'll tell you what, that NFC Championship game, even though the dome is loud, I still think the NFC Championship game being outdoors kind of put the noise to the Superdome in a little flux there, because it was a lot of fun, a lot of good game though, great game and great turnout.
Football is meant to be played outside. That's my opinion. Could be right, could be wrong. It's meant to be played outside, and if we can replicate that same experience that you see in Seattle or in New Orleans or in Kansas City. I think we have the fans to do it. We just have to start making it more of a tradition, and we'll get right back at it as soon as the safety guidelines allow us to.
Yeah, now with that in mind, you gave us the trip down memory lane, right? So I do want to know what one of your favorite projects you've worked on. All right. I mean, from the time you've been interning and all, but also let us know something else that you're working on. With COVID and everything, I can imagine that, fan engagement's got to be really, really tough right now. And I know that you guys are working on some things. So what is something that one of your favorite projects that you've worked on, and then something that you're working on now that you want people to know about?
Yeah, that's a great question. I've been fortunate that in my time I've been able to work on such a variety of projects. I'll give you a couple of my favorites. One from after my first off season, I guess you would say, with the team. So I was still an intern. And then the way fan engagement works for us is that we align ourselves within our community impact side of the organization. So with the foundation and with community relations and with our 49ers prep team, which is who I tie myself closest to, as well as EDU. But with the youth football side of 49ers prep is in my first off season, we actually got to do a trip up to Oregon. So we left the stadium, we drove for 7 days, and we'd drive for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And we'd go to a local school and we'd do a youth football camp for that community that, they're far away from any professional sports teams, and especially NFL teams, whether it be even when the Raiders were here, is that both teams don't typically get to have that impact further away from home. So we got to drive up 2 hours, make a stop, drive 2 hours, make a stop, make camp at a hotel for the night, and then do that for 7 straight days, and then cultivated in Portland, where we actually had an invasion style event up there. We did a Women of the Niners event up there, and then we had a big youth football camp for kids from all over Oregon, and then Southern Washington were able to come. We worked with the Portland Niner faithful, Niner Empire up there. So that's one that definitely stands out as early in my career. And then one of my other, it's hard not to pick anything related to the playoffs or anything related to 2019, because it was just such a fun year and such a special year. First time we got to go to the playoffs since I've been with the organization. Obviously, I've been a fan a long time, seen those Harbaugh years with all those great playoff memories, but to really be a part of it and be part of the conversations, and what happens if we win this and what happens if we win that, and do we get to plan this, and all these different things. So seeing the red end zones, certainly a special moment. And then we actually put together watch parties. Teams don't typically host watch parties for home games, but we've got millions of people in the Bay Area, and we're faithful to the Bay, and we want to be known as the Bay's team. So during the playoffs, we put together the best we could, as much of an in-stadium atmosphere as we could, at a bar in San Francisco and a bar in San Jose, and ended up taking it another step further with some pyrotechnics for the NFC Championship. So those definitely stand out as some of the favorite events that I've been able to help be a part of. And then this year, it's been extremely interesting trying to figure out what we can do and where the best practices are. And I should say also, one of my favorite projects that I've been able to launch in general would be 49ers Pride, which is just, we're the only professional sports team in the world that has a fan club specifically for fans of the LGBT plus community and allies, to be able to come together and for the organization to say, hey, we absolutely acknowledge that you're fans, and we want you to know that we appreciate your support, and we are here to support you right back. So being able to launch that.
You mean to tell me that Seattle, the place that is known for the 12s and their fans, doesn't have that?
No, we're hoping to be a domino effect. So we're the first ones and currently the only ones, but we hopefully are not the last ones. This is meant to be a lasting domino effect for years and years to come for fans of all sports, and hopefully other organizations. And we've had a few reach out to us about what they can do. And so that's definitely holds a special place in my heart as well. Back to going forward, what we're doing this year, we're doing virtual events every single month and ongoing. So every Tuesday, started 2 weeks ago, and then last night, and then every other Tuesday through December 15th, I'm actually virtually hosting trivia, and we're giving away signed autographed jerseys. So I know you guys were live last night, but if there's fans who are listening for the first time and they're just hearing about this, Trivia Tuesday presented by SAP, 49ers.com/Trivia Tuesday. I've got a signed jersey. I wish I could tell you who it was, but it's sort of a surprise every week. But let me tell you, most of them are signed by a guy that's on this poster, potentially featured right there in the middle. and we're giving them away. And all you have to do is have the top score. And I do 6 rounds of trivia. We did 80s night on Tuesday. We'll be doing probably college night, 90s night. We'll probably do one for the 2012 Niners, the 2019 Niners, and just a good way to have fun. And everyone's at home, whether it's with your roommate or your significant other or your kids or your dog or whoever it may be, is just have a night in. It's Tuesday night. We're going to have fun for about an hour, get some trivia, and best case scenario, you end up with a signed jersey. And that's sort of one of the unique things that I've been able to work on this year. And then this year we had the tail crate. We went on sale and we sold out in 4 hours, and didn't really know if people were going to love the subscription box idea, and still didn't have word on whether or not the NFL season was going to work in a certain way. Are we going to be playing at home when we launched it? And just the fans, we have the best fans. I like to say in the galaxy, because I'm a little bit of a nerd with Star Wars and different things like that. So best fans in the galaxy, and they sold out instantly. And we're actively working so hard to try and get more inventory. And we're also trying to get creative on, can we do this sort of version of a tail crate or this sort of version, or, should we be lucky enough to sort of take that next step and beyond a 16th regular season game? What can we do in that sort of scenario? So know that we're working on that. And then for our kids club and our women's club, every month for the rest of the season, we'll be hosting virtual events. We did a happy hour for the Women of the Niners last month. We're working on something to get people more active for the month of October, and sort of ties to Crucial Catch. So be on the lookout for that. And that'll be open for all fans as well. None of our groups are tied to a specific demographic. We definitely guide them in a certain direction, but they're open for all. And then for our kids club, we're going to be doing a Halloween event at the end of the month. We always do a holiday event, and then we'll be doing something fun in November as well. So virtual events, they're fun. They're honestly a little bit more work than I could have expected when we're used to having in-person events. But and then for 49ers Pride is we're looking to be groundbreaking yet again, and we'll be doing some special stuff hopefully this next month. And it's just excited about what we can do. And then hopefully in 2021 we can get things back to normal, and then push the limits on what the sort of normal cadence is. And I don't want to get too much into that yet, because we like to keep a few things up our sleeves, but know that we're constantly looking around at best practices, not only across other teams and sports, but Universal Studios, Disney, anything where people are having fun in person and trying to have a unique experience. I'm out there, I'm taking notes, and I'm trying to bring that to the 49ers experience.
Now, your events on Tuesday, are they the same time every week?
So every other week, Tuesday. I know it's a little late out there for y'all on the East Coast, but our next show will be on October 6th at 6 p.m. So 10/6 at 6 Pacific time. It's about an hour, and it's an interactive experience. You can have the show in one tab on your screen, or you can scroll up and down at 49ers.com/Trivia Tuesday, and you just enter in your answers. And then I take the score afterward, and we reach out to you, and we ship you out a jersey.
So we will make sure that we do not broadcast at the same time.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, we want people to get on over there, guys. Make sure you check it out. It's a lot of fun. You can win a free, like who doesn't want to do that? So I'm going to shut up. I know it's Nick's turn to ask the question, but I wanted to make sure that we're not bumping heads again, because 9 o'clock we were all on. I was like, oh my God, sorry. So, all right.
Yeah, that's my fault. I totally forgot, because I was in 2 weeks ago, Trivia Tuesday, and playing, obviously, and I just totally forgot that it was Tuesday. And I'm like, oh, we got to do a show. And then after we already went live, I'm like, oh, shoot, Nick's doing Trivia Tuesday tonight. Man, so I apologize for that. But, guys, we'll give you those details as well. Like Nick said, every other Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard. You can go to 49ers.com, Trivia Tuesday. And you can also look at you'll watch one stream and then answer questions on another page as well. But pretty simple. And it, like Nick said, if you don't come home with a jersey, at least you learn something new about the team. So it's always good for new fans, old fans, future fans. So make sure you guys check out Trivia Tuesday over there as well. Nick, a couple more here, and then I'm going to let you get out of here. But two things. The tail crates are new this year. Obviously, we sold out. You have spoke on that and said that we sold out of those fairly quickly. Are they going to continue through the season? And do you look to push those through to fans that can't get to games next season? Is that something that is something that you're thinking about or not?
Yeah, as far as the rest of this season, we put our entire inventory up at once, so that, or at least what we knew we had at the start. So we had our full season longs that included a box for each month. Then whatever we had for October, November, and December. And as soon as the season longs went, they went out. The Septembers went out. The Octobers went out, and the Decembers. So those did all sell out at once. We are going to still be shipping them at the beginning of each month. So Tail Crate should start shipping at the end of this week for October. It's got recipes for that first Eagles game all the way through the end of the month against the Patriots. So it's just been a fun experience and we're creating recipes that tie to each different game. So I think like for the Eagles game, we've got a cocktail recipe. I had the fun time of naming all these things too. So for the cocktail, we're doing Buy Eagles, Buy Punch, and just fun stuff like that. The lobster tots are coming. The lobster tots are coming for the Patriots game. So
that's awesome.
So fun stuff like that. And so to answer your question, right now the inventory is as it is. We're at 0, but like I said, actively working to be able to add more. I've definitely seen the notes about potentially doing a women's specific tail crate. Love that idea. If we can put that together in fruition, even if it's not this season, doing something in the future. And then obviously the faithful loved it. If it's one of those things, we've seen comments from folks that do live out of state that say, even in a normal year, I think this is such a cool idea to enhance my at-home game day experience. I've got Sunday ticket, and I'd love to be able to have something from the team. So we're looking at all those comments, and once we get through this season, hopefully it's not till the beginning of February, and we have some other things that we need to plan after that. We'll look at Tail Crate again and see what we can do to bring it back if that's what the faithful want, and what would it take to do that.
And then one other thing, and then we'll jump into some fun questions, but the 49ers fan cutouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is an idea that the team has been doing. Obviously, they're loaded up behind the end zone. You can see those there. You can purchase them on 49ers.com. How did this idea come about? Was it, obviously a lot of teams are doing that. And then what are you guys going to do with the fan cutouts after the season? Can those people purchase them back, or are you going to be getting rid of them? How does that work with, I know I've seen like the Phillies, for example, just because I'm on the East Coast, their fan cutouts, every home run ball that has hit a fan cutout, the player signs it and sends it back to him. So that's a pretty, something interesting, but, people throw footballs in stands. I don't know if they can anymore against rules, but there's no fans now. But what are the plans with the fan cutouts after this year and are they going to be used for the entire season?
Yeah, so we're planning to use the fan cutouts. They're still available. So if you haven't gotten yours yet and you want to be on Sunday Night Football against the Eagles here on October 4th, definitely get it in as quickly as you can, because we are going to be putting up more. So the fan cutouts, they've been great, and they're super fun. I get to go to set up. Actually, I was setting up the fan chapter flags that you may see there on social, and hopefully Sunday Night Football will pick that up. So I was hoping to set those up and got to see the cutouts, and they're super fun. And try to make things as normal for the players as possible, because I don't know if you guys catch any of the raw sound from like social media, but it sounds like you're at a high school football game until the foghorn goes off. You're like, this has to be super strange for these guys. But yes, they're still available. I don't know if they've completely figured out what they're going to do after the season does come to an end, because we're hoping the season doesn't end any time short of what our goal is. So, but I do love that idea with the Phillies. We'll definitely bring that up internally to see if we can do something similar to that. Again, it's not a direct relation because we don't have an equivalent of a home run, but I love that idea. And then I think the plan is for either the studios team or marketing team to be able to feature those cutouts into some of our future stuff going forward. And, fingers crossed, as we don't need to do cutouts again for another season, but I'm sure that'll be part of the conversation, sort of depending on when the season ends and where we are in the world. And hopefully we won't need them, and then we can figure out a fun strategic plan of something to do with them at that point.
All right, we're gonna do a rapid fire, fun question segment. Okay, so I'm gonna give you one, you answer, and then Nick is gonna go, and we're just gonna ping pong off of each other, and it's gonna be all over the place. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. Now, you called yourself a bit of a nerd and you said in the universe. So I'm going to ask you right away. Ready? No pressure at all. Star Trek or
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Do I need to explain myself, or that's my answer?
You know what? I only wanted to ask that because of what you said. I don't watch either one. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. I've never seen. Okay, never mind. I don't want to get into it. They judge me. I'm sorry.
Check out The Mandalorian if you have Disney Plus. You'll enjoy that. And if you decide you want more, you can dive into the Skywalkers. But check out The Mandalorian. It's fun. It's got Baby Yoda, so kids will love it too.
My son raves about it, so I do. He's been there. All right, now I feel guilty. All right, I wouldn't do it when my son said something, but Nick Clarke says it. Now I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll check it out. All right, Nick, take it. There he is. He's off. Okay.
Look, when Nick's talk, you just listen. So, but anyway, I was going to ask you something different, but I'm going to ask you this. What is your favorite Star Wars?
Empire Strikes Back. Definitely number one. Do love Revenge of the Sith, and then I know it's controversial, but I do like Rise of Skywalker too. So that's my favorite from each trilogy.
All right. Last one about Star Wars stuff, right? All right. So I'm assuming you watch Big Bang Theory.
A little bit, not too much, but
well, never mind. I'm not going to ask that question. Okay, so I take it back. Then
all right.
I won't. All right, another random question here: PlayStation, or Xbox?
Grew up, and I would probably say grew up with PlayStation. Probably think it's the better console, but I've been on Xbox since I was in high school. I don't know, just been easier, and then. With the team, we get more benefits from Microsoft, so it makes more sense for me to be in that platform. And lucky enough, I sometimes get to find a copy of Madden that fell off a truck and get to play it every year.
All right, here we go. Favorite Disney movie?
I would say Hercules or Goofy movie.
Oh man, I love it. Yes,
you gotta stand out. Yeah, if you find me on TikTok, you might find a video of it.
I'm gonna be searching right now.
That is great. I would pay to see you do the perfect cast. Oh, that is awesome. The moonwalk was not in there when he originally did it, just so you know. That's great. That is great.
No, my sister, she actually is starting her freshman year at University of Colorado as a musical theater major. So we had a lot of fun doing some fun things throughout the summer. And one of them was like, all right, can you learn this choreography and can you teach it to me? We'll do the dance from a Goofy movie. So I'm excited.
Freaking awesome. Oh my God, that's so good. Oh, I didn't think anybody else knew about that movie except me. That makes me feel so special.
It's like a cult following Disney thing. There's Goofy movie TikTok, there's Goofy movie Twitter. So you dig for it, it's out there.
I'm gonna be searching. And when I find it, I'm sending it to you. You know that. Just to be like, hey, I found it. All right. Favorite, if you had to prepare a meal for somebody special, what would be your go-to meal to prepare?
Ooh, that's a good one. Quarantine, I've spent some time learning a few new things, actually, and it's not exactly the most authentic way, so I apologize to my grandma and grandpa on the Mexican side because I've been making carnitas. They're delicious. They're cheating a little bit because I used the Instant Pot for part of it, but they're pretty darn good, and I've been having carnitas throughout the year. And then, I'm kind of going to millennial shame myself, but I've perfected avocado toast with a perfect, I'm telling you, a perfect fried egg on top. I've looked it up exactly how to make it. That way it's runny, exactly how you want it. So those are go-tos. And then I used to always make a really good spaghetti. So that's sort of me. Not too fancy, but I like the flavor.
But
one of our viewers, Little Pete, I don't know if you know him or not, but he just texted me and said, already found it on TikTok.
You got to share the link with me.
So I'm going to have to find it and search it up and look it up, and I'm going to have to watch this. But he literally sent it to me and said, found it on TikTok.
Love it.
Awesome.
So big shout out to Little Pete, man. That's the MVP. That's Tina's little boy, and great kid, man. Great kid. So shout out to him. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, that is great. All right. Favorite. What are you watching on Netflix right now?
On Netflix, I've been rewatching ever since they swept at the Grammys the other night. I've been rewatching Schitt's Creek, which I love. Not on Netflix, but I'm super excited to get started on The Boys season 2. If you haven't seen The Boys, obviously, if you're old enough to watch it, that's a great show.
Yes.
Excited for Mandalorian season 2 to come out. And if you've ever heard of a show called Letterkenny, again, you have to be old enough to watch it. But I love that show on Hulu. Definitely check it out. Yeah, it's about this small town in Canada, and they're 22-minute episodes, so they're bite-sized, super fun, and it's literally just there's probably 4 different groups of friends in this town, and they interact with each other every once in a while, but they're just shooting it with each other, and they're talking trash, and it's just a lot of fun. And there's a group of hockey players, and then there's a group of agricultural guys, and there's a group of sort of like gothic, and they're just you got to give it a couple episodes. But if you know anything about just Canadian stereotypes and different things like that, it's good fun, and I love watching that show as well.
The Canadians in the chat are going crazy. So yeah, all right.
There we go. See, between Schitt's Creek and Letterkenny, I love Canadian TV.
All right, so I do have another one for you. I'm going to recommend one for you now. My wife is in love with Jason Momoa, right? And so there's this show that they came out with on Prime, Apple's thing, and it's called C.
Okay,
I'm going to recommend that to you. All right, you just got to check it out. No, C, like CSEE. Yeah, so C. It's hard to find, like, because of how you have to search it. Like, it's a very common word, but I liked it a lot. So hopefully you like that one. So check that out.
Yeah. So talking about Netflix, we had George Kittle on the show in his rookie year, and we asked him what he was watching on Netflix, and he turned me on to The Ranch. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but I was like, wait, what is this? And he was talking about it. So it's good to share what different people are watching, because, you know, something that I may not just choose on my own that somebody else gives an opinion on, obviously. I'm going to check this show out. I've never heard of it, never seen it. I'm going to check it out. All right. So last one. What's that?
Trust me on that. You'll be quoting Letterkenny if you start watching it.
Oh, well, we'll see. You see my tweets, so you'll see if I start quoting them.
After a few episodes, you may want to Google certain games to play while you're watching it, and you'll have a fun time. I can guarantee you that too.
What?
Okay.
Understand. All right.
I'm definitely going to look into
I'm being a little cryptic. I apologize, but
no, that's fine. Look, we're getting the all natural, right? So, all right. So you said you were born in the 90s, right? 93?
93.
All right. So favorite 90s movie?
Oh, wow. Gosh, I have such bad answers for this, but movies that I love. I was 5 years old when The Phantom Menace came out, so that's a big time. Definitely one of my favorites. The Godzilla from 1999, which people definitely don't like. I love that movie. Those are sort of. Oh, and then of course the original X-Men movie. That probably stands out, just because it was so ahead of its time, and obviously I'm a nerd with everything sort of in that realm of sci-fi and comic books. So, and it ushered in what we're now 20 plus years later of just 3 superhero movies a year. You get shows like The Boys where you get a different perspective on superheroes. So, that would be my top 3 probably.
All right. So favorite non-football activity or hobby?
Oh, everything I do is related to football, it feels like. Or at least sports in general. I love going to live events. So obviously we can't do any of that right now, but when we can, big Sharks fan, big San Francisco Giants fan. Love the Warriors, and then just like going to concerts. And then I'm an annual pass holder at Disney, so when I can, I make the trip. It's usually don't get to go in fall or late summer, but in the spring, I have a bunch of friends that I went to college with that live in LA now, so sort of visiting with them, play lots of board games, and then hang out in parks and go to the theme parks too. So have a lot of fun with that. And then obviously I like to travel. I get to do it with the team several times a year, and if I can fit in a personal trip, I like to do that too.
Awesome. Mike, you got any more?
No, I'm watching the time, and I'm sorry we went over what we said we were going to, but you've been excellent. I don't have any more questions, so I'm going to shut up and listen to you. Listen to the Knicks go. Listen to the Knicks. You don't want that.
Yeah, no. Especially with the game this week, we're just channeling that big Nick energy.
Listen, the game this week, I'm going to be on. I'm going to my dad's house, who's a Giants fan, so I'm taking over. Oh. Yeah, I'm taking over his area, and I'm going to be going crazy for this game, so I can't wait.
You're going to have fun.
Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun, and it stinks that you guys can't make it out here, Nick, because I know New York was one, like you said, was one on one of those sides, and these were. Look, I had the home opener planned. I had the Giants, the Jets, New England, Dallas. I had them all planned, and obviously we're not sure. Dallas. It looks like they're allowing fans, but I still don't know if I'm going to put myself into that situation or not. But look, man, once again, it was a pleasure having you on, Nick. It's always fun to talk football with you or talk anything with you. You're a great dude, and I appreciate you coming on, man. And hopefully we can get back to this atmosphere of football and these invasions and everything again. And, I really, truly appreciate you coming on, man. It's fun to get to know who Nick Clarke is, guys. If you guys don't know who he is, look him up on 49ers.com. Or, Nick, tell them where they can follow you at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not all that interesting to follow. If you want to, you can sort of find it. I don't even know what my Twitter handle is. I think it's at Nick Clarke01, something like that. But honestly, follow the team accounts. That's where you're going to find everything that we're doing. That's where I put a ton of my time and effort into creating things for the fans. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come out here and talk a little bit about what my side of the business does, because I feel like there's so many fans and they are always like, oh, I wish I could do some of these things. And in a year like this, everything that we're doing can be done from if you've got a computer at home and you've got a strong enough internet connection. So we want the faithful to be a part of everything that we're doing. And then as the season goes on, we're probably going to have more and more opportunities. So keep close to everything that the official team accounts are putting out, and I'll try to enhance those as much as I can. And I'll tell Nick and Mike if we've got anything going on. But for now, stick to Trivia Tuesdays. If you've enjoyed any sort of this sort of personality that I am, that's where you get to see it all. We get weird, funny references to things on there too. So join us there, and I'm excited to get the faithful together at some point once it's safe, whether we're meeting at a home game or meeting on the road. And would love to meet every single one of you. I love you all, and just excited to hopefully make you more of an impact as the years go on, and we'll make some memories related to football and not related to football. So I thank you guys for having me, and hopefully next time you can introduce me as a friend of the pod.
Hey, man, you're always welcome as a friend of the pod. Look, you are on my desk. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a picture of you and Alberino.
Hold on, I got you.
Look, there's you and Alberino.
There we go. Is that Tampa?
That's Tampa.
Tampa 2019. That was the start of a special season.
That was the start of a special season. But yeah, man, you are on my wall and then on my desk, so I appreciate that, man. Like I said, you're a good friend of us. Mine, I like to, think that I can call you a friend, and appreciate all that you do for the fans, man. With the Niners, I love how you guys get everything out there. Our team is truly a blessing to fans, and it's not all like that all the way across the board with all 32 NFL teams, guys. So when we say that we truly do have the best fan base in the galaxy, as Nick Clarke would say, he's right on point. So Nick, man, I appreciate everything that you do for us, man. Us as the fans, for the team. And, most of all, I'm thankful for your friendship. So I appreciate it. And thanks for joining again, man.
Of course. Can't wait to see y'all virtually or in person again soon. Appreciate the invite too.
That's going to do it, man. Friend of the pod, guys. Nick Clarke holding it down for the 49ers and the fans, man. Doing it all for the fans. So we appreciate him. Thank you so much. Thank you to the 49ers for letting us steal him for a few. And that's going to do it for us here tonight, guys. Make sure you tune in. We have shows coming up later on this week, and it's important to have your notifications set. But that's it. Prepare for glory.
Anticipate pain.
But always remain faithful.
We out of here. Peace.